This is the Reolink wireless outdoor camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my pros and cons of how I feel about the camera. I'll give a little tour of the camera, and then where all the fun stuff is in the app, so we'll take a little tour of the app as well. Just so you know, I have Arlo cameras. I have the first generation, so they're pretty old. And what I have to do is every month, 2 months, depending on how much traffic they get, I got to replace the battery. And that's a hassle because a lot of times, sometimes I have to climb up really high to get to them. So with this, it's solar powered or solar recharging. So this thing is always pegged at 100. I don't get a lot of traffic where the camera's at, so it's not constantly being used. So anytime that I go to look at the camera, it's always at 100%. So I know I'll pretty much never have to climb up here until, you know, the batteries end of life. So that's one thing that I really like. The other thing is the app. The app is very feature rich. Like I said, I'll show it to you a little later, but I like the fact that I can do a lot within the app and don't have to worry about anything else. The other thing is the onboard recording. So with my Arlos, you get 7 days worth of recording, and then you have to pay for cloud storage. With these, you can also pay for the cloud storage, but you can also put in a micro SD card, and then depending on the size that you put in there, will give you unlimited recordings, just depending on, like I said, how much traffic the camera will get where it's at. So I like the fact that I'm not dependent on, you know, I have to buy storage in order to use the camera. I can use my onboard storage and it works perfectly. The camera itself, you have the solar panel, which as long as you get in a good spot, like I said, it works really well. The cord is extremely long, so I could put this much higher if I wanted to. Say there was some trees obstructing the view, but where it's at, right next to it, no problem. And then also with the camera, it's 365 rotation, but then the lens will go 145 tilt. The picture quality on this thing is pretty amazing on the low and high setting. And then you got the antenna. One thing about the antenna that I wanted to say is this is just like a normal wireless router antenna. So if you have an old one like that that's, you know, bigger, that will help get you a better signal. So sometimes it's not always the camera is the issue, it's just where your router is in relation to where the camera is, and it may be too far, so you're getting a weak signal. My router isn't that far from here, and this antenna does just fine. So I didn't forget about the cons, but the little quirks that I wanted to mention are in the app, so I thought I'd hold off. So this is the first one. You can see the camera, the home camera that I have, is not connected. It is connected, it's always connected. If I click on it, the video will show. It motion detects whenever someone walks past, but for some reason, there's a glitch and it always says it's not connected, but it works fine. So just keep that in mind if you have this issue. The other one is you have high-res and low-res video that you can view and record, but I noticed that I have to turn off a feature in order for me to use the high-res video. So if you go into settings, and then you turn off hardware acceleration, then I was able to view high-res video. You might not have this issue, but if you run into this problem, this is probably the fix for it. Now getting to the app, like I said, click on this, and then the live video will show you what you have. So we'll just kind of go through it. You can stop the video or start it back up. You have a speaker function where you can hear what's going on. I'll turn it off. And then while the live video is playing, you can take a picture. You can actually record, and this is straight to your phone. Then you can also, like I said, turn it to high-res or low-res or high-res right now. It takes a minute to load, but you can't really tell the difference on this small screen on a phone, but if you have to pinch in and zoom, then that will help out a lot. You can also flip the video horizontal or vertical, however you need. And then you also have a microphone that you can talk to someone. It was really hard to hear, so your mileage may vary, but I wouldn't get this camera for this feature, but it's nice to have. You can actually zoom in on a clip if you want. This is one way to do it if you move around, but I don't really like this way. If I was going to zoom in the clip, I would flip it horizontally and then pinch and zoom, and you get a much better picture that way. PTZ, you can move the camera around if you need to. And then playback. So any movement that it detected, you can play back any videos that you want.